जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नीताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल। नीताय गौर हरि बोल। जय जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद। जय जय प्रभुपाद। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमती शिवान ग्रेस एसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णवृंद की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। Hare Krishna. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 13. This is text number 57. Sava adyatanadrajan parata panchamehani kalevaram hasyati swam taccha bhasmi bhavishyati. Sava adyatanadrajan parata panchamehani kalevaram hasyati swam taccha bhasmi bhavishyati. Sava adyatanadrajan parata panchamehani kalevaram hasyati swam taccha bhasmi bhavishyati. This Saha, he, va, in all probability, adya, today, tanat, from, rajan, O king, paratah, ahead, panchame, on the fifth, ahani, day, kalevaram, body, hasyati, shall quit, swam, his own, tat, that, cha, also, bhasmi, ashes, bhavishyati, will turn into. Translation purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. O king, he will quit his body most probably on the fifth day from today, and his body will turn to ashes. Purport. Narad Muni's prophecy prohibited Yudhishthir Maharaj from going to the place where his uncle was staying, because even after quitting the body by his own mystic power, Dhritarashtra would not be in need of any funeral ceremony. Narad Muni indicated that his body by itself would burn to ashes. The perfection of the yoga system is attained by such mystic power. The yogi is able to quit his body by his own choice of time and can attain any planet he desires by turning the present body into ashes by self-made fire. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we are continuing our discussion with this chapter of the first canto, Dhritarashtra quits home. So as we have been saying last couple of weeks, how Vidura preached to Dhritarashtra, and finally Dhritarashtra realized the need to leave home, give up all his attachments, and take to the process of self-realization. So he's already left in the past few verses, and Yudhishthira Maharaj is concerned. What happened to him? I couldn't take care of him. I couldn't attend to him. So maybe I should go and find out why he left. Let me try to bring him back. So these are the thoughts that is going on in his mind. So Narad Muni comes there and tells him, no need to go and call him back. He has taken the right step. He's in the association of a great saint, Vidura. So he is going to perfect his life. Although he lived all his life in great attachment to material things, but now he has finally taken to the process of self-realization, and in the association of Narad Muni, in the association of Vidura, he will attain perfection. So he is predicting here that on the fifth day from today, Dhritarashtra will quit his body by the process of mystic yoga. So mystic yoga, it's a process by which a yogi can leave his body. Like in the fourth canto also we see Sati. She left her body because she didn't want to have any connection with her father Daksha. Because Daksha offended Lord Shiva. So she felt my connection with Daksha is a sinful connection. So let me give up this body. So she burned her body by generating a fire from within. So this is an art which people in the earlier ages had, generating fire from within the body and destroying the body. This is not similar to suicide. Suicide is also ending the body voluntarily, but that is usually done out of frustration. frustration of our material desires, or inability to fulfill our material desires. So then, out of depression, anxiety, frustration, a person may end his body. But that kind of destroying the body is condemned and is considered sinful. Whereas a yogi leaving his body by the process of mystic yoga is a bona fide way of quitting the body. Like the other day, Balaram Shakti Prabhu was talking from the 8th canto. There are two paths. Agnir Jyotirah Shukla Shanmasa Uttarayanam Tatra Prayata Gachanti Brahma Brahma Vidojana. And Dhumo Ratristata Krishna Shanmasa Dakshinayanam Tatra Chandramasam Yogi Jyotir Yogi Prapya Nivartate. So in this way, there are two methods by which yogi leaves his body. Through the path of the sun, through the path of the moon. So this is recommended in Shastra. Krishna is recommending here in the Gita. So by choosing the right time of departure from the body, a yogi can attain to a certain destination in higher regions. So Dhritarashtra is adopting that method. Although he was frustrated with his material life, he wanted to enjoy the kingdom, he wanted his sons to become the king, all those things are frustrated. But by hearing the instructions of Vidura, he cut off all those attachments and successfully took the process of mystic yoga. So Narad Muni is predicting from the 5th day, on the 5th day from today, he will depart. He will burn his body into ashes. So departing from process of mystic yoga is definitely better. But still better is depending on Krishna. Naite sruti partha janan yogi muhyati kaschana tasmat sarveshu galeshu yoga yukto bhavarjana. So Krishna says a devotee who is totally surrendered to Krishna, he is not so concerned about at what time I am going to leave my body. Agnir Jyoti, that time, the daytime, the full moon, waxing period of the moon, Uttarayan time, which is important for a yogi. But for a devotee who has dedicated all his life for Krishna and surrendered to Krishna, even if he for some reason is unable to leave his body at that auspicious moment of the waxing moon, Uttarayan time, daytime, still it is not a big issue. There is no loss. Because Krishna takes care of a devotee's destination. So we find the story of so many devotees. Bhishma, for example, although he had that option to choose his time of departure, but he was more concerned about leaving his body in front of Krishna. He waited for all these days after the war, not exactly for departing at the time of Uttarayan, but he mainly wanted the darshan of Krishna. He wanted to see the Pandavas crowned as emperors. And remembering Krishna, he wanted to leave his body. And even incidentally, it happened to be Uttarayan and all those auspicious conditions were fulfilled. We also see the story of Jatayu. Jatayu apparently died an inauspicious death. Right? He was trying to save Sita from getting kidnapped. And he fought with Ravan, and Ravan chopped off his wings, and he was lying there in blood. So his mission failed. And when Ram came to know, he started accusing Jatayu. Probably he is instrumental in Sita's kidnapping. And he was about to kill Jatayu. Then later he realized, no, Jatayu was in fact trying to save Sita. And then in front of Ram, taking darshan of Ram, Jatayu left his body. And Lord Ram performed all the funeral rites. And his departure was auspicious. What can be more auspicious than this? Similarly, Haridas Thakur's departure in front of Lord Chaitanya, remembering, looking at the face of Lord Chaitanya, holding Lord Chaitanya's feet on his chest, reciting the names of Krishna Chaitanya, he departed. So all these examples we see how yogi versus devotee. A yogi has to calculate, this is the auspicious time. this is the best time. All these conditions have to be fulfilled, and then my process of yogic meditation has to be perfect, and then I leave the body. So it's kind of dependent on one's own abilities. If you are not perfect in yogic methods, then you may end up leaving the body from some other time, which may not be as auspicious. For a devotee, on the other hand, Krishna takes care of. Even if inauspicious moments are not perfectly in place, Krishna takes care of a devotee's future destination. So in this way, we find Dhritarashtra is going to leave very soon. After a long time, we have been discussing Dhritarashtra's departure for a long time. He's going to leave the body. So he's stopping Yudhishthira. Don't go, don't disturb him. Don't try to get him back. And then in the future verses, we'll see how he goes, how he departs. Gandhari also departs. She enters into the fire. She also leaves her body. So today also happens to be the auspicious disappearance day of Narottam Das Thakur. We'll try to discuss something from his life. So Narottam Das Thakur, as we know, is a very prominent acharya in our Gaudiya line. A little later, after Lord Chaitanya, 6 Goswamis, that's when Narottam Das Thakur appears into the scene. So Lord Chaitanya left this world in 1534, 16th century, 1534. And a few years, towards the end of Lord Chaitanya's pastime, Narottam Das Thakur appears. So his birth happened in a place called Gopalpur, on the bank of the river Padma. Padma is in current Bangladesh. And he was the son of a king named Krishnananda Datta. And his older brother was there, the king's older brother. His name was Purushottam Datta. So they were very wealthy, extremely rich. And Narottam Das Thakur was the prince, the son. And he also had a cousin, Santosh Datta. So they grew up together. And all the bodily symptoms indicated that he is not an ordinary person. He is a Mahapurusha. So certain bodily marks, complexion, all this indicates that what kind of person the child is or going to become. The person the child is going to become. Similarly, when an incarnation comes, you find certain marks. Parikshit, when he was born, certain indications were there. Prithu Maharajas, certain indications are there. So all these great personalities, when they take birth, astrologers and other people can identify this is not an ordinary person. So in this way, Narottam Das Thakur, childhood itself was indicating he is not an ordinary person. And he was a very peaceful child. Very gentle, sober. And when he started going to school, he had extremely sharp memory. Whatever he would hear, he would memorize. And he would reproduce. Especially he took interest in scriptures. And he memorized everything. But very soon, as soon as he started studying scriptures, he gradually lost all interest in material subject matters. A natural detachment towards material life was visible right from his childhood. And then he grew up and he started getting attracted to Krishna, Hari Bhajan. Whenever he would hear about Krishna from sages and other people, his natural spontaneous attraction towards Krishna would arise. And that naturally created fear in his parents' minds, as we see even today's times. Whenever a person takes to Krishna consciousness, the parents and family members they get scared. What will happen to? He will leave everything. So Narottam Das Thakur's family, parents also face similar fear. So they appointed a guard to check that he doesn't run away. Out of concern. So guard was there. One day his father went to meet on a government official visit, he went somewhere. That's when Narottam Das Thakur felt this is the right time to escape. So he escapes. And he wants to go to Vrindavan. And in his dream, Lord Chaitanya appears. That makes him even more excited. And he starts walking towards Vrindavan. And after going to Vrindavan, he meets all the devotees. So that's his renunciation. He left home permanently without entering into family life. There he meets Loknath Goswami, all those great devotees, Bhugarbha Goswami, then the later descendants, Jiva Goswami and all. We will see this later. But after meeting all these people, he begins his mission of preaching. And Prabhupada writes in one song, translation to the song, he says how Narottam Das Thakur embodies the condensed mercy of Lord Chaitanya. So Lord Chaitanya left, but then his legacy was continued by Narottam Das Thakur. After 6 Goswamis, Narottam Das Thakur continued. So he's a special person, one of the Manjaris, and he continued Lord Chaitanya's mission, especially by writing songs in the local language, Bengali language. So in India, this is very common. Whichever part of India we go, we find saints and sages of that local region writing books and songs in the local language, because not everyone can understand Sanskrit. So in South India, West, East, here in Maharashtra we have Tukaram Maharaj's song, Narottam Das Thakur in Bhaktivinoda Thakur there, Surdas, Tulsidas writing songs. So this is how the culture of Krishna consciousness remained alive in India, even though Krishna and Ram appeared thousands of years ago. Sages, these kind of devotees are the ones who carry on the tradition. Otherwise, if everything is written in pure Sanskrit, no one can understand. So that is Narottam Das Thakur's unique contribution. Songs like Prarthana, where he pours out his emotions. So one of the most noteworthy accomplishments of Narottam Das Thakur is the Kheturi festival. This was a significant contribution from him. So what's so significant about it? In one recent article, not recent, a few years ago, Satyaraj Prabhu wrote an article in detail how this festival is organized, celebrated, and how people benefited. So it is said that this Kheturi festival happened approximately 100 years after Lord Chaitanya's appearance. So till then, Gaur Purnima, Mahaprabhu's appearance, was not celebrated in a grand manner in any place. Although people knew Lord Chaitanya's appearance, but it was not a grand function like we have Janmashtami and other festivals. But the first grand celebration happened approximately 100 years after Lord Chaitanya's appearance. And this was organized by Narottam Das Thakur. So Mahaprabhu was 1486 to 1534. So this happened sometime around 1630, that period. So it was held to commemorate the appearance of Mahaprabhu. And there were several books that influenced this festival. Gaur Ganodesha Deepika, Chaitanya Bhagavat, Chaitanya Mangal. These were books written already, describing Lord Chaitanya's activities and biography. And during the festival, all these readings were done. Devotees would come and read pastimes on this book. So approximately so all these devotees come and discuss the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya from these books. So approximately the festival happened in the early 1580s. 1486, Mahaprabhu appeared. 100 years later, 1586. And it was held in Kheturi. Now, Kheturi is not a very prominent town or city, but there is significance about Kheturi. So one time Lord Chaitanya entered into the river Ganga, Padma, and looking at the other side of the river, he cried out, Narottam, Narottam, in great emotion. No, Narottam was not born yet, but he could foresee a great personality is going to come. And Nityanand Prabhu and all were there. And Nityanand Prabhu inquired, who is this Narottam? Then Lord Chaitanya tells, he's going to appear very soon. So everyone is waiting. When is he going to appear? So the news spreads. Some great personality is going to appear very soon. And they're waiting. So finally Narottam Das appears and his education and all happen. So one day Nityanand Prabhu appears in the dream of Narottam Das Thakur. And he tells him, tomorrow, as the sun rises, you should take bath in the Padma river. At that time, you shall receive the total empowerment of Gaur Prem, love of Godhead. So that's what he does. Next day, as he enters the river Padma, he gets a vision of Mahaprabhu. And Lord Chaitanya embraces him tightly. And he feels empowered by the Shakti of Lord Chaitanya. And his complexion turns into the complexion of Lord Chaitanya, which is golden complexion. So that's how he gets the Avesh Shakti of Lord Chaitanya. And then Lord Chaitanya orders him, you go to Vrindavan. There you will meet Lokanath Goswami. You should surrender your life to him and take initiation from him. So Narottam Das Thakur follows his order and he starts traveling to Vrindavan. And then we know how he meets Lokanath Goswami Maharaj there. And he tells, I have to surrender my life to you. Please accept me as your disciple. But Lokanath Goswami says, no. I am least qualified, I am the most fallen, I cannot take you as a disciple. But then we know how Narottam Das Thakur every day, wherever Lokanath Maharaj would respond to the calls of nature, he would go there, clean the place every day. And the next morning, Lokanath Goswami is saying, who is cleaning this place so nicely? So one day he hides and is noticing, who is coming here and cleaning? Then he finds this prince, Narottam. He's coming and cleaning this place. And he's embarrassed. Why are you doing this? So then he says, please accept me. I want to become your servant. Please accept me. So finally he agrees to accept Narottam as a disciple. So that is his only disciple. Lokanath Maharaj is only one disciple. And then he goes to Vrindavan and meets other people. He meets Jiva Goswami. So Jiva Goswami, he meets him at the Radha Govindadev temple, Rupa Goswami's temple, Govindadev. And he looks at the temple and such a grand structure, he becomes ecstatic. And then surrenders to Jiva Goswami for education. So three devotees, Narottam Das Thakur, Shyamanand Pandit and Srinivas Acharya. These three are the best students of Jiva Goswami. And the whole Vrindavan gets to know these are like real special students. So they get all the training and Shastra, scriptures and all the commentaries of Acharyas from Jiva Goswami. So Jiva Goswami, after the disappearance of Rupa and Sanatan, he becomes the kind of the leader for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And these three students are fortunate to study under him. And one day Jiva Goswami gives them a mission. You have to take the message of Lord Chaitanya to Bengal and preach. So he hands them all the literatures of the Goswamis and tells them, go and preach. So this is the first book distribution party. So they go with great enthusiasm, and on the way they are attacked by a gang of dacoits. Actually, the leader of the dacoits was the king himself, King Birambhir. And he thinks this is a big treasure. Actually, it was a treasure, but he didn't realize what kind of treasure it was. He steals the treasure. And when they wake up in the morning, they are finding it missing. And they feel, what's the use of our life? What the main thing that was supposed to carry, that is lost. How can we show our face to Jiva Goswami now? So Srinivas Acharya says, I'll find out. I will try to figure out where it is, who has taken it. So Shaman Pandit and Narottam Das Thakur go in different directions. And Srinivas Acharya later, with the help of local people, and he gets a clue who has stolen it. And then we know the story of how King Birambir got converted to Vaishnavism. He returned the treasure. All those, that's a different story altogether. But the treasure is recovered and the books are retrieved. Narottam Das Thakur goes back to Keturi. Srinivas Acharya, he converts the king and the whole land is converted into Vaishnavism. Shaman Pandit goes to Odisha and Narottam Das Thakur goes to Bengal, East Bengal, that area. And there he was trying to preach to the local people, and slowly looking at his influence, looking at his power, looking at his devotion and surrender, humility, and all his saintly qualities, people are gradually becoming devotees and getting influenced. In this way, the festival preaching is expanding. His followers and disciples are increasing in number. So now, one day, he finds a letter from his guru, Lokanath Swami, saying that you should install and worship the deities. You should establish deity worship. So, when to establish and when to celebrate the festival, he chooses the day of Gaur Purnima. So, it takes a lot of preparation. And he starts collecting resources. So, mainly his resource came from his family. His father and uncle had disappeared, left the body, but they left a huge inheritance. A lot of wealth they had. So this becomes the main funding for organizing this big festival. So now whom to invite? So all those first generation devotees of Lord Chaitanya, second generation, all those people are there. Some of them are still there. So everyone has to be sent a personal invitation. Invite them, transportation charges, accommodation, everything has to be arranged. So he gradually starts making arrangements, and personal invitation letters he writes in nice poetry, nice Sanskrit, personally handwritten. And in this way, everyone receives an invitation. And they start coming in towards Keturi. So it is said, Santosh Datta, his cousin, he was the main organizer. Because he was still, after the kind of next prince, next king, after the father and uncle disappeared. So he was the prime organizer and main assistant for Narottam Das Thakur in organizing this festival. And they started pouring in to Keturi. And everyone take up various responsibilities. And everyone is seeing that now this is the talk of the town. Big festival is happening, Gaur Purnima, going to happen. So that becomes a big, much awaited event. And the hosts, Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivas and Santosh Dutt, these three people are the hosts. And they greet everyone, welcome them everyone nicely with a flower garland and sweet words and affection. And everyone is comfortably accommodated. And the main chief guest is who? Is Janava Devi, Nityanand Prabhu's consort. Now she is special. Why she is considered special? Because first of all, she is Nityanand Prabhu's consort. And everyone knows that she is an expansion of Lakshmi Devi, specially empowered. And therefore she is given special prominence. And she is kind of the leading acharya for the whole Gaudiya Vaishnava community. So after Lord Chaitanya's disappearance, already several factions had started rising up. Everyone claiming to be the real representatives of Mahaprabhu's mission. So little slight deviations of philosophical Siddhanta. So in this way, several dozens of factions had sprung up. How to get them all together, unite them on one ground? Who will take charge? Who can be the authority to do this? So that's what Janava Devi did. She got everyone together, united them together, and they all resolved their philosophical differences and disagreements and united to celebrate this festival. So therefore, Janava Devi played a very crucial role at that time as the leader of the Gaudiya community. So the festival now begins. So special invocation prayers were recited and a huge kirtan started. So this is the day one of the festival. The whole day it went in kirtan and invocation. The next morning, thousands of enthusiastic devotees begin the celebration with yet another huge kirtan. And Narottam Das Thakur reveals 5 sets of deities. He had brought 5 sets of deities. Which are those? Sri Vallabhakant, Sri Vrajmohan, Sri Radhakant, Sri Radha, Raman and Sri Krishna. These 5 sets of deities he had kept and he uncovered them. In addition, he also brought 2 beautiful deities of Lord Chaitanya and his consort. And all were installed with the blessings of the present devotees present. And who was the main pujari doing this? It was Srinivas Acharya. Entire Abhishek and bathing ceremony, Srinivas Acharya took over. And the devotees celebrated with classical dance and music and kirtan, and especially the holy names of Krishna, Hare Krishna mantra. Finally, the leading devotees led masses into the specially prepared kirtan hall. It was constructed specially for this event, where Narottam Das Thakur was supposed to lead kirtan. And everyone came to this place known as Garan Hati. Sorry, the kirtan style was known as Garan Hati. And it had unmistakable, rich devotional content. Stylistically, it was called classical Drupad music, which is simultaneously serene and majestic. This is how it is described. Then, Narottam's specific method employed sophisticated tal, ragas, and devotional expression, abhinay. And he developed special dance techniques, natya. His style focused on a slow tempo and long tal for the duration of a song, speeding up gradually and reaching a heightened crescendo, thus distinguishing it from other current forms of kirtan performance. So till then, the Gaudiya kirtans were of a certain style, but this is the time when Narottam Das Thakur introduced a totally new style. Indeed, rather than the usual Nam Kirtan, which was favored among the Gaudiyas, this new technique was basically a series of songs that told a story, some Leela, correlating Chaitanya Leela with Krishna Leela. Such story Kirtan had been popular in Bengal, but now the extra added element was Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. So Katha Kirtan was a common feature, but Gaur Leela was introduced in this kind of style. So when properly sung, it gradually evolved into Radha Krishna pastimes. Begin with Gaur Leela, Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, gradually evolves into Radha Krishna Kirtan pastimes. And this interconnection was there between Gaur Leela and Lord Krishna Leela. So this was Narottam Das Thakur's special, unique contribution. And when he started singing, people were actually moved. Everyone started weeping, tears of ecstasy. And they were going through various ecstatic emotions. No, this is not the height. So the kirtan is going on. The best moment of the kirtan was, the most heightened moment was when, in the midst of the kirtan, they get to see the divine forms of the Panchatattva. So as Narottam Das Thakur is singing, Lord Chaitanya and his associates actually descend in that place. And then they start dancing in their original forms, like they had seen. That's how they appear. So Lord Chaitanya, Nityananda, Advaita Acharya, Srivas, Thakur, they personally appeared at the festival and danced with all the assembled devotees. And like a flash of lightning in the middle of a mass of beautiful clouds, Lord Chaitanya himself appeared with his followers. So according to Prema Vilas, one book, Mahaprabhu appeared with Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Gadadhar, Srivas, Haridas Thakur, Swarup Damodar Goswami, Roop Sanatan, and many others. Who can imagine the heightened bhav as Janava saw her departed husband in the middle of the kirtan? Who can imagine the feeling of Advaita Acharya's sons? So Achyutanand, all those people were there. Advaita Acharya's son. They are seeing their father in his original form. And Srivas Thakur is seen by his brothers, Srinidhi, the Srinidhi Pandit. So they are seeing their brother. So in this way, everyone is like in a total state of ecstasy. And in this way, that whole event was blessed by the divine appearance of Lord Chaitanya. And everyone is in a height of ecstasy. So in this way, therefore this festival is remembered. First of all, it happened 100 years later, first grand celebration of Gaur Purnima and Narottam Das Thakur's unique Kirtan introduction and Mahaprabhu and his associates' appearance. So it remained, therefore, whoever participated in this festival and went back, they just couldn't forget the whole experience. So several scholars have written later, in the current, even in today's times, several scholars have written about the unique feature of this festival and how it laid the foundation of future Gaur Purnima festivals. So Janava finally began, towards the end of the festival, she began new festivities. She approached the newly installed deities and offered a special form of red powder. So a kind of holy festival was celebrated. Red powder, kumkum, that colors were offered to the deities, and even spray, colored waters were sprayed on the deities. So in this way, the holy festival was celebrated. The next morning, Janava Devi and a team of experienced cooks trained by her prepared breakfast for all the devotees. Then with a few assistants, she personally fed the devotees with her own hands, slowly going from one to the other, reaching as many as she could. Only when everyone finished their meal, Janava Devi sat down and honored her prasad. So everyone was thus moved by seeing her humility. So in this way, the festival lasted for 3 complete days. And for the attending Vaishnavas, this was the best of all experience they had till now, throughout their life. So in this way, Narottam Das Thakur's Kheturi festival became extremely famous. And every year then they started celebrating this festival. So in this way, Narottam Das Thakur's fame spread far and wide, especially his kirtans, his songs, devotional music. And he started making more and more disciples. So many amazing experiences people had. So one time, his popularity was increasing. Then some Smarta Brahmanas objected. How can a Shudra initiate Brahmanas? So they started blaspheming. Once, especially when Smartha Brahmana was blaspheming him. You are a Shudra, you have no right. It is our right to initiate people. So that person got affected by leprosy and all his organs, limbs started melting away. And he was really miserable. So one day Durga Devi appeared in his dream and said, "You are suffering because of offending Narottam. Go and surrender your life and then you will be saved." So next morning, with great humility, this Brahmana comes to him, Narottam Das Thakur. And Narottam Das Thakur very kindly, gently forgives him. And this way the Brahmana is saved. So there are several instances where Durga Devi appears in the dream of blasphemers and atheists and glorifies Narottam. So there seems to be a nice teamwork between Narottam Das Thakur and Durga Devi. So many cases. Dacoits trying to harm Narottam Das Thakur. There is one instance where there is this two Brahmanas, Harinam and Ramakrishna, the sons of Brahmanas. They were actually herding sheep and goat for slaughtering during Durga Puja. So Narottam Das Thakur preaches to them and tells them, what is this sinful life, unnecessarily killing animals? So they agree, they get converted, they become devotees. But their father, his name was Shivanandacharya. He gets angry. How can they stop my sons from performing Durga Puja? But then Durga Devi comes in his dream, tells him, what your sons are doing is right. You go and surrender. And then he is transformed. So looking at Narottam Das Thakur's popularity, the entire Brahmana community is getting envious. So they go and complain to the king, saying he is spoiling our Hindu religion. You have to do something. So king asks what to do. So he says, we know one scholar. His name is Roop Narayan. If he debates with Narottam, then he can be defeated. So they agree. The king and all this Brahmana community, along with this Roop Narayan, they go and challenge. They go to challenge Narottam. But on the way, Narottam gets a message. Narottam Das Thakur gets a message that this party is coming. So what his disciples do, they go a little ahead to a marketplace where these people are coming. And they disguise themselves as a panwala and matka bechne wala. And these people come. And they started, these two devotees start talking to them, start arguing with them, speaking to them in Sanskrit, and started speaking philosophical messages. Then they pick up a quarrel and debate. So in that debate, these disciples of Narottam Das Thakur defeat them. So king says, and then they inquire, who are you? So they say, we are disciples of Narottam. So king says, if you are defeated by the disciples of Narottam, how can you even stand against Narottam? So they all go back. So in this way, Narottam Das Thakur's popularity is increasing. We know the story of that dacoit, Chandrai. Full-fledged dacoit. He had a whole team of dacoits looting people everywhere. But when he meets Narottam Das Thakur, he gets converted and surrenders his life. So in this way, Narottam Das Thakur is a very great empowered personality. If you look at his songs, which Prabhupada used to quote so often, Jaya Nilo, when his companions, contemporary friends, Ramchandra Kaviraj and Srinivas Acharya disappeared, he just couldn't bear the separation from them. And that's when he wrote the song Jaya Nilo Premadhan. So his disappearance is also mystical. He entered into the river Ganga and he told his disciples, perform kirtan, loud kirtan, and just keep pouring Ganga water on my body. And after some time, his body got mixed with the Ganga river. That's how he disappears. So his songs are very philosophical, simple songs, but carrying great import. Prabhupada writes in one purport, what is that? First canto verse where, no. The songs of the queens of Dwarka glorifying, that is as good as, that is more sweet to hear than the prayers of the Vedas. And there Prabhupada writes, Narottam Das Thakur song and Acharya's songs are like that. So his songs, Vishaya Chadiya Kabe Shuddha Have Man. When will I enter Vrindavan? Only if I give up the desires for sense gratification will I be able to appreciate the Dham, Vrindavan Dham. And then Prabhupada's favorite song, Hari Hari Vifale Janama Goainu, Manushya Janama Paiya. So these are all songs written by Narottam Das Thakur, telling us about the importance of human life, telling us about the dangers of sense gratification, the need to take up Radha Krishna worship, Vrindavan Dham. So even if we are unable to study big scriptures, if we can just memorize and understand these songs, we get to know the deep conclusions of the Shastra. And in this way we can perfect our life. So I'll stop here. If anyone has any comment or thoughts. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Sri Narottam Das Thakur ki, Hare Krishna.